his victory like a baller.
Oh,
Well,
man.
I think he's actually on the road this morning, so I don't think he'll actually be in the show today.
Yeah,
are
I'm
we?
talking about shit.
Yeah, so he won't be here today.
Oh, man.
He's on the road.
Yeah. Interesting, Arwin, your points of view on all this subject. Because the thing is, I feel maybe you feel like I'm trolling you when I throw these comments like you're a baller and all this stuff, but that's what I feel because if I see Riley 101 versus a baller, let's say an Orthodox, for example, and they are on it, they are like in the crescendo, right in the point, and then you interject and say like, no, but Riley, you're
Yeah,
wrong
that's
because
right.
of this.
Yeah, that's
You
right. And
defend
I
it.
will keep on
But
doing that
yeah,
every chance I
let me
get.
get
Because
to the
I
end of
will
my
not
point.
allow flat
Okay,
earthers
let me
to
give you
win
myself.
with shitty, illogical reasoning. Because that makes us look
Okay,
bad. It's
can I
an
get to the end of my
obfuscation
point?
tactic that doesn't hold
That's
ground.
this what you're doing right now is an obfuscation tactic. Can I get to the end of
No,
my
it's not.
point?
It's actually making a very solid long-term point.
Okay, can I get to the end of my point?
Yeah,
And
sure
then
you
you
can.
can. Okay, perfect. So try not to interrupt me. Let me get to the end of my point, bro. So I see when it's getting to the crescendo and, and Riley and Ortogos are in a very, very sketchy situation that either way can lose, but then you interject in there. And I say, like, why does he have to do that? Can you wait a minute or two, or maybe interrupt and say, like, I disagree with that, but continue
Mm.
talking. Let me jump in it when it's my turn, you know? Don't
Yeah, yeah,
interrupt
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
point. Let it get to
I
the
do
end of
that.
the point first.
I do that, you know? You know what happens when I do that? The entire show runs until the end and I can say nothing. That's what happens when I do that. Because the
Well, I
ballers will just
disagree,
keep
but
on
yeah.
inserting their shit. You will keep on grilling them, repeating the same shit over and over again for an hour, then another hour, and then I had nothing to say. Because every time I speak up, Arwin, stop interrupting! While everybody else interrupts continually without a word mentioned.
Okay, I disagree, but you win because you got a bigger mouth than I do.
Yeah, I do have a bigger mouth. I need it.
Yeah,
Okie
I
dokie
agree.
then. Glad that cleared the air.
Hey, that's, that
Which I'm
mouth,
not in
it's
disagree.
on me.
I really.
It's a built up pressure over the course of the last 6 to 9 months. Slowly building up pressure and disrespect that I don't really have any sensible response to. So the pressure's just going to keep on building. And every time it touches upon that type of behavior, that type of thing again, I'm going to be slightly a little bit more triggered every time. And that's going to keep on building until things actually change for the better instead of
Or
just repeating themselves over and over and over and over again.
you turn into
Going
He-Man
nowhere.
and like the power of Grayskull takes over.
Isn't it that I agree or disagree with you, Arwin, in many points? I 90% agree with what you say. What I
Good.
disagree is with the tactics you use on
Oh, you disagree
diverging the
with
point.
my tactics. Really? Anybody else's tactics you might disagree with?
Yeah, the baller's tactics. Very similar to yours.
Oh, so there's nothing wrong with Riley or with John or with Nathan?
Everyone's got their flaws.
Nothing at all? Everything goes for the flat earth, right?
No.
Everything. No shame. No
Not
manner
true.
of fabrications or spinning or even a downright lies. It's all okay as long as we're fighting the globe, right?
That's not true.
Right. Well, I don't go there.
Okay.
This is a journey of discovery for me, not a political fight.
Fair enough. On a slightly different subject, I had to put my head on the chopping block in FE Core's meeting yesterday. So they were discussing their slogan. They were saying, the real science and science be praised, FE Core and things like that. And I'm gritting my teeth.
Ooh,
Eventually
yeah.
it's a lot more cordial than here. You know, you'll get your 10-minute piece and then that's kind of it. But, you know, while everyone's saying things like that, you've got to kind of hold your tongue, which is difficult given that the type of style of the debate is, you know, like Owen saying you get interrupted a lot. and I'm as guilty as anybody. But anyway, that aside, it got to the point where, you know, I've got the mic, I'm saying, okay, right, I understand that you guys are all very educated and you're all working really hard. However, you're not doing science. And I'm paraphrasing what I had to say to them. But of course, you've got to tread very carefully because, you know, there's guys amongst them, at least one that I know of, that's, you know, fully degreed up and got lots of letters after his name and is trained in quote unquote science. So to say to this guy, well, no, that's not science, when he's, you know, he's dedicated a huge chunk of his life to training in it and he's far more qualified and educated than I, for me to turn around to say that to him was extremely nerve-wracking. But it needed to be said. You know, my point being that if you've got globeheads that are punting lies and using the words hypothesis and science and scientific and repeatability and all these sorts of elements of the scientific method to give credibility to their lies, then we as flat earthers have to steer clear of that if we are in the very privileged position to actually have the truth on our side. You know, the earth being obviously and observably flat. And you don't need science for that. Hey, Travis.
That's good. I have a question though, and that is there anyone outside of you and John and everybody that loves all this so much, anywhere in the world, anywhere, that actually maintains this standard of the scientific method?
No.
Ever.
Well, yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
So what
hold
the
on,
freaking hell
Can
are
I get
you
more
doing?
than one word answer?
How is anyone going to take
right,
this
no,
seriously
not allowed
if
more
you
than
are
a one-word
literally
answer.
the only ones in the world that are actually applying it like this?
That's not the case. So, no.
Oh, really? No, who else? Who else?
No, answer.
Arwen, settle down.
So,
I just want a direct answer.
I'll get you the article, but no, 99.9% of published, peer-reviewed, quote-unquote scientific documents do not adhere to the scientific method.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say
I
that...
agree to that.
Right. Well, that just means that they don't adhere to the scientific method, even though they're claiming that they are science. Well, that's how rife the problem is, and that's kind of my point. When, you know, people who are in completely non-scientific fields, M. Scott Veitch being an example, computer science, yeah, right, what a joke that is. Well, those people like the idea of them being scientists, and they're not. They're not doing science. They're not establishing cause and effect. They're not adhering to the scientific method. And that's what science is. It doesn't matter that it's been diluted.
It's like a label. It's become a label, a cultural label.
Yeah, exactly. It's
basically embracing a very wide concept. But
it isn't.
On the other hand, the alternative that you're offering, what can you actually accomplish with this?
Oh, right. So you don't think science has accomplished anything, Harwin?
Yeah. No, literally. Like anything you do to accomplish something. So what can you actually accomplish with this?
Huge amounts of science that is done using the scientific method.
Like what?
Well, there's loads of stuff in medicine. There's going to be various different examples that are being given already. For example, scurvy and vitamin C. You can follow the scientific method and establish a cause of the effect. Now get this, it's in people. You know, if I was to put this out while we're live, which we're not, we will be in the next 20 seconds, but they'd be like, oh, right, so it can be man-made. No, we're studying the effects on people. Now, people are natural, not man-made things, but people themselves. You can study them using the scientific method and adhere to it religiously.
Before you start, really quick, Nathan, 10 seconds. Congratulations. Thank you for, do you understand what taking a different slide approach in different groups of people where you're standing on so you can stay in the conversation is? So you understand my point when they say, yeah, you act different here and there. No, you just got to adapt and talk differently with different certain people just out of respect and decency. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, frustrating as it was yesterday, because when somebody, it boils my blood. Someone starts telling us all about how the Cavendish validates their religious belief, and then you say something like, what's a hypothesis? And they go, well, I know. Well, tell me what it is. Well, just because I don't have the definition in front of me. In other words, I haven't got a clue. You know, it just makes my blood boil.
I know, that's
anyway,
just
we're running over. I'm going to have to stick you guys on. We're running late. Hold on.
Oh, what a day! What What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Arwin, Jose and The Plain Truth. Good to have you all.
Good afternoon.
Hello. What?
Good morning, gentlemen. Hi to everybody on the side chat. Thank you for coming in early. Nick, one of the most dedicated globe earthers in the show.
Yeah, a fan of the show. So,
big fan.
I'm going to play this video out as we were talking about the ISS yesterday. This played on my autoplay. I'm obviously subscribed to Flat Earth Brothers, but don't often watch them. And they'd compiled like some more of the recent anomalies that take place and sort of dressed it up as though they're farcically actually introducing things like teleportation. So in this example, you've got a phone or something that looks like a phone. There you go. It just appears out of nowhere. Like, oh, right, okay. Lovely CGI layering there. Just introduce a random object from nowhere. But yeah, I thought I'd leave this running in the background, mainly for the last section. So it's only about 6 minutes long. But towards the end, they've got some gravity examples. So I can't remember how he phrases it or they phrase it. Something like anti-gravity gravity machine. And it's got various slips. So instead of it being a CGI layer, it's got them actually holding something and dropping it. Clunk. Oh, whoops. But anyway, I'll remind you when it comes. In the meantime, we'll do a bit of housekeeping while this plays in the background for people's amusement. So yeah, big shout out to Flat Earth Bros. Anyway, any signs of curvature?
Long past, no.
Nope. Nada.
NASA.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Not yet.
Nope.
Nope.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Not so.
Oh, no.
Nope.
What about the distance to the sun? Any convincing evidence of that?
Oh, wait. No.
Got my hopes up for a second there. No? Distance to the sun? Anybody?
Nope.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope.
No.
What about the presupposition itself? Any evidence of Earth radius? Gentlemen?
Nope.
No. I'm wondering how Chris Harfield is still alive after that microphone sliced through his face and throat. Wow.
I wouldn't.
Gravity must save him.
Just a CGI
He's just
layer.
phasing. Come on.
Just a layer of CGI. It's not going to hurt him.
They're semi-extra dimensional. They can just phase in and out of reality. We're seeing it right now.
That's amazing.
This is the one. Anti-zero gravity. This is brilliant. I'm going to have to turn the audio up for it, though. Clunk. Whoops. Did you drop something? Yep. Clunk. Whoops.
Oh, that is amazing.
What a joke. I love things like that. I don't normally get into the anomaly hunting, but obviously you've got two things going on in play here. He's got a CGI hammer and a real card, and he drops the real card, and it has a very realistic effect. The CGI hammer, on the other hand, looks like a layer of CGI. Same as his necklace. Got to do it. Shout out to Dilly Gill. So things like that necklace were mapped on the STS missions on the shuttle when they were actually doing freefall maneuvers and filming the effects of freefall. Not zero-G, freefall. So you falling at a constant velocity with the plane falling around you, so therefore it appears like you are floating. However, that's where they got all of the necklaces and bubbles and, you know, wires dangling and all that sort of stuff. That's how they've mapped it. They've done it all in the 90s. So that's how they've got the technology now to map it in real time so they can do all this stuff live. But mistakes like this, I remember this one's a couple of months old now. He's supposed to be grabbing, I think it's a microphone or a hat, and they've just not layered in whatever he's grabbing. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I bet the little teddy bear is in the compilation somewhere too. Good stuff. Good stuff.
It just shows you that, man, NASA has a lot of trouble like getting this interactive CGI going. So compliments to Ranty, man. How does he do it?
You mean
Right?
CGI, Ranty?
Come on.
There's some subliminals. So this, it looks like somebody's giving the bird. Look, it looks like someone's putting a middle finger up in the foreground, like a shadow. And then there's a subliminal of two people kissing in the clouds. I mean, this is the worst effect ever.
Well, the best moon ever.
Wasn't it
See that?
dreadful?
Stars
Just
going
absolutely
right
dire.
through it and everything.
So yeah, that's Flat Earth Bros. Flat Earth Brothers.
Really good, really good.
Yeah, I'll stick a link to their video. Thumbs up.
I came across a few days ago. IPS is like Infinite Play Society. He's doing streams again and stuff, and he's working on it on exposing the ISS and fakery and NASA. It was very entertaining. I think yesterday's show I watched of his.
Yeah, he likes to promote the whole, well, I say promote loosely, the whole bubbles in space thing. Which is a very good
same
point.
in the like Hori the cheat show. Take that route to exposing the lies of the space agencies.
Can't beat a bit of NASA anomaly in the morning.
Good start after a little bit of trolling in the chat before the show. It was interesting. Yeah, hooray.
It amazes me. I set up the show a couple of hours before we go live, and there's people in there almost immediately chatting away and having a jolly good debate in the chat before the show's even started.
You know, I think they might actually just be hanging around in the chat for 24 hours, waiting until the new show starts.
That did happen. Actually, that reminds me. So there's going to be the heading won't be strictly accurate because it won't be a science-based show, but based on the fact that John's doing the presentation, I'll just keep the title the same, just for simplicity. So there'll be a science versus pseudoscience this evening in about 4 hours' time, a little bit under 4 hours' time. So a couple of hours after this show ends, John will do a presentation on flat Earth proof. So obviously very relevant to the debate. So check that out, science versus pseudoscience. 6 p.m. UK time.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good stuff. I didn't know you were recording the after show yesterday. I watched the rerun. I was there in the hangout still, listening to your interaction with the two guys, Zinder and the other guy. It was good stuff, man. Nice.
Well, I record all of it. It's just most of the time, I said this to Harrenberg, I think it was Rune Thornton, who's like, why didn't you just keep this live? And it's like, well, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if it's going to be superb afterwards, but I record all of it. You know, and if it happens to be good, I'll snip it out. Hey, Flat Earth Vegan Guy. Hello, Nathan. Good to have you again.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
So yeah, you keep recording
Yeah,
for a
exactly.
little while. If it's something explosive, interesting, then you post it.
Yeah, if I'm in the panel, I'll keep recording till I basically finish, and there's no point stopping unless I've stopped and closed down and start doing something else without the computer. But if I'm sat here, I might as well carry on recording. And then, like I say, when something like that happens, you're like, oh right, that might be worth publishing. So I listened to it back afterwards, and I was like, yeah, that's definitely worth publishing as a separate video. Check it out. Lumberjack versus Pretender Clowns is the title of the video. Yeah, well worth watching. Would you agree?
Not really.
Oh, I agree. It was really good.
Were you on the panel, Arwin, when that was going on?
No, I don't go on the panel.
You drop at the end, do you?
Nonsense.
Fair enough. Well, I might as well plug my other channel. So, regardless of Arwin's lack of enthusiasm, my second channel is Nathan Oakley with a space in between. So Nathan space Oakley, and that's got what we're discussing basically. Although I did snip out this particular clip and put it on this channel, but yeah, on the whole, I just cut them in half and stick them on my second channel about a day later. So 24 hours, maybe a bit less, depending on which show. I'll publish the bits with the before, middle, and after, if there is any. In the Uncut debates, so check that out. There's a link in the info box. You can go and subscribe to my second channel if you want to hear some of the Uncut debates before the show goes live.
As I work in the night shift, and I put my headphones listening to podcasts and stuff, so I've been revisiting your old debate shows, Nathan. I started in 1, and I'm up to 88. So I watched last night Flatter Debate 88A and 88B. 88A was the first time that M. Scott Fish was mentioned on the show, and 88B was the first time that M. Scott Fish was on the show, and other characters in here. It was good stuff. And in those 2 episodes, Soundly was being debunked by Sleeping Warrior and Renty. So nice. Yeah, it was good stuff, man.
Yeah, there's been some really good shows. But the attitude drastically changed around show 60 or 70, I forget, around that sort of time, because Anthony approached me with some editing work that he was doing on one of the shows. And it was regarding The Distance to the Sun, and Hank Hill asked Paper Explanator about The Distance to the Sun, and he tied it up with the inverse square law, but without getting into the details, they're not that important. What is important is that Anthony showed me that in a 2-hour show, so it was before I had a break, so I used to just sort of do the stuff for my kid while the show was live. I don't do that anymore now. I just have a little break and sort myself out and her out, and then carry on 5 or a few minutes later. Anyway, he presents his screen to me off air and says, look, this is the 2 hours of debate. Here's where Hank Hill asks him the question. Here's the response he gets. And I don't know, an hour and 15 minutes later, here's where the actual response comes from Paper Explanator. You know, his damning reply isn't attached to the damning question, so it kind of gets lost. And he showed it me, and I was like, bloody hell, that is devastating. You know, his answer, his actual answer, which is we have to assume we're on a sphere, or we have to assume the distance to the sun, was basically completely lost. And Anthony was like, yeah, you've got to kind of keep these on track, especially as flat Earth is in the minority. You know, the vast majority of people, let's face it, think they live on a spinning sphere flying through space. Well, if it's the case that we're in the majority, then you've got to promote equality in terms of how the debates run. Don't let the points get lost. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. I haven't intentionally, because I wanted to show the obfuscation. That was kind of my point in doing it, showing how people do what they do. And she's like, well, no, we're a minority group, and as I said before the show started, we're in a privileged position that we've got the truth on our side. So we don't have to dress it up. We don't have to jazz up the obvious and observable reality that we all deal with on a daily basis. You know, it's only the people who are punting lies and religious dogma that need to dress it up with scientific terms, which is great for us because we can rip it apart. But we don't need to fall into the same trap. You know, we don't have to dress up our obvious reality with scientific terms to make them seem more credible, when it's like, well, it's just logically obvious. It's obviously flat. What other conclusion can you draw?
Yep. We got actual geometrical deductions, and they only have presuppositions. It's always what it comes down to.
Yep.
And I try to emphasize this. It's like all these other things you do to basically break an argument or win or whatever. For me personally, it's just not necessary, because they will always eventually end up back with their presupposition. There's nowhere else to go for them, and that is our definitive win, in my opinion. So that's how I see it.
Yesterday was ridiculous, just trying to get them to bring out the hypothesis. I mean, 2 hours of that.
Yeah, but you spotted the inherent problem immediately. You were the first past that goalpost. So Vegan Goy says, what's the hypothesis? Having led them by essentially pointing out that the effect is mass attracts mass, therefore the cause is gravity. So give us the hypothesis, but we need them to actually say, okay, effect, mass attracting mass, cause, gravity. And as soon as they say that, right, so your independent value is gravity and you can't manipulate it. Got no hope of proving this scientifically, ever. You've got to dress it up with parlor tricks and pseudoscience.
Well,
what else have you got? There's no gravity.
I've been thinking about that, Nathan.
Okay. Excellent, Owen. Right. I'll put myself on mute.
Sorry. It is a little complicated, but with gravity, the thing is, when it really comes down to it, yeah, you can't really vary gravity itself, but by all means, through all branches, gravity is basically approached through the scientific method as mass, and then the deduction based on that is called gravity. So basically, gravity is like the effect of mass being the source of displacement. That is basically the theory, and then they just focus in on the deduction-based part. It is just, it's very complicated. It's complicated to me. It's complicated to everyone. And when it comes down to it, like really the nitty-gritty, even without all the ridiculous John-based restrictions, gravity still cannot be proven according to the scientific method. Yeah, because it can be varied, and I do agree to that. But the deduction is there, and it is not just one aspect that is being deduced. It's the missing block in all of it. There are so many deduction-based tie-ins and everything. Yeah, it doesn't mean that you can then prove that, but you can definitely point at that very specific sized hole in which gravity in its entirety, in its concept, would fit. That's why it's deduction-based evidence.
AP.
Hey, how are my favorite delusional people today?
No. I don't know. How are you?
How are you and all the people around you?
Being one of the strongest, one of the building blocks of the spherical Earth, gravity, being an important factor of this model that we are born into and presented to, shouldn't it be easy to explain and easy to demonstrate and prove? I mean, it should, but it hasn't been.
What is easy to explain or demonstrate and prove to this panel? Absolutely nothing. Nathan wants you to shoot him in a rocket up into space to prove that the Earth is a sphere. And that criteria of evidence can't really be met.
Shouldn't that be easy?
Well, testable and repeatable. That's what makes proof, doesn't it, Pete?
You set the criteria for evidence. The bar is so high that it's not. It should be easy to prove. But I mean, if you're just going to be biased and delusional and deny, you can't prove anything. You can't prove anything on this panel.
Makes proof.
You can't prove there's nothing you can prove on this panel.
Yeah, you can by repeating it. Just like with Soundly, that could have been true if the people repeating that would get the same results.
Hold on.
You guys ask me all these dumb questions about hypothesis and all this crap.
Okay, well, let me just point to
you won't answer any of my
repeatability.
Hold
You
on,
answer
hold on, both
one
you,
question I
please.
ask. You don't even attempt to answer
Well,
it. It's
yeah,
pretty
you're not
rude.
asking anything yet, so
You're
this is-
extremely immature. I asked you stuff yesterday, and you just
yeah. Well,
ignore
that
me
was
because you're
yesterday.
rude
You're
and
not asking
immature.
anything now, so
That's
I'd just like
because
to
you
make a
didn't
quick
answer
point,
the
Pete.
first question, and instead you come up with your own questions. It's ridiculous. Hey, we need to. He's late to the class. We need to put the astronaut, the cosmonaut that dropped the screw, and the one that dropped the card for him to explain to us.
Yeah, maybe. Did you see that at the beginning of the show, Pete?
Ballers are experts at making
No, I
excuses for
didn't.
NASA.
Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. I just want to point something out. You don't need to repeat an observation. The whole repeatability aspect has also been hijacked from the scientific method. So the systematic experimentation stage, that's repeatability. That's what it's referencing. But if you want to repeat an observation, it's very easy. You look at the observation, turn around, or close your eyes, then open them again. And voila, observation repeated.
Right. But it also counts for not directly tied in with scientific proof, but just general evidence. Repeatability is the key. If somebody says something, yeah, that you could take their word for it. You could look at what they bring. But yeah, if somebody else or multiple people are going to go and do the same thing under the same circumstances pretty much and not yield the same result, then there is evidence that there may be some tampering. Because otherwise other people, at least half or whatever, are going to bring the same results. So it is, I guess, more judicial level, investigative level evidence. But yeah, repeatability is a key factor in every kind of evidence.
It's just not true.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're gathering
Hey,
evidence
give me
from
an
a
example.
crime scene, for example, are you going to get repeatable evidence? You're going to get repeated knives from the crime scene, repeated gun shells? No, of course not. You just get one. And
No, but you can fingerprints, blood tests. You can definitely repeat that. You can have other experts do the same analysis and come to the same conclusion or a different one.
But you could also equally have one fingerprint.
Right, but that one fingerprint can be copied.
Well, yeah, but I'm
Can
saying...
be checked.
Right, but what I'm saying is you get to the scene, there's one fingerprint. Do they say, oh, well, have you repeated this observation? Well, no, there's only one of them. Oh, well, then let's discount it immediately because it hasn't been repeated.
No. That's not how I meant that, you know.
Well, that's how I mean it. You don't need to repeat an observation, it's just an observation. As I said earlier, this aspect of needing repeatability is derived from the scientific method, where they make it quite clear that your results must come attached to systematic experimentation. In other words, repeat the experiment.
Right, but
that's science.
even
That's not
with
observation.
testing,
It's
not without the scientific
Well,
method.
in
the
science,
same
a
thing
test is an experiment. So depending on how you're phrasing things, if you're making it seem like you're doing science, and then you use a word like test, well, that's an experiment. Again, lending weight to the requirement for repeatability. But we're not doing that. It's just mere observation. And this is what I was saying at the beginning of the show. You don't need to jazz it up. If it's just obviously flat by observation, you can say that. It's, what are you seeing here? What's this test and experiment? Well, we're not experimenting on anything. It's just obviously and blatantly flat. There you go. Look. There it is, building far away.
You're presupposing it's flat.
No, it's not.
No, P. Let me make something clear. When you do the measurements, you add to what we start with. You add a radius. So unless you're going to suggest that your ball measurement has got two presuppositions, the first being flatness, the starting point, before you add R, then no. You just measure it, take what you get, and you add a presuppositional value to that. The presupposition of a radius.
No, your presupposition is that the Earth is flat, and you can't even prove it. Or
would you like me to
evidence for
explain
it.
why?
Arwin, you're up. Defend
Hold on,
Team
Pete,
Arsenal.
do you want me to explain why we're not presupposing anything?
I know you're presupposing.
Oh, well, then there's no point in explaining it to you then.
How?
Then you have set yourself in your belief about this, P, and go in peace. in R, the presupposition actually at play here, you trust.
If you can explain to me how this presupposition of the flat Earth is supposed to work in our observations, please try to explain how that works without just saying you assume it's flat. No. Where does the actual presupposition in the entire conclusion, how does that work? Where is the presupposition?
That the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly what I told you not to do. Not just a blank statement. How does the presupposition of this flat Earth flatness actually come in to the deduction, to the observation? How does it actually tie in?
He's just asking you to justify your claim, P. Just justify it.
I just want evidence that the Earth is flat.
Okay, no problem. Let's interject at this stage. Hi, Laurie. Good to have you. So, P, you look at something that's 20 plus miles away over a body of water, and there it is. You just see it. There is absolutely no presupposition required. You just open your eyes like this lighthouse. It's on screen now. I look across. This is 31 miles away. And there it is.
No.
It's just there. There's no presupposition. I just look.
I'd like
I'm not allowed to
empirical
finish.
evidence
Not allowed to finish this
that the
example.
Earth is flat.
Obviously, this is troubling
So
to you,
I don't have
having
to
just
presuppose
asserted
the
that
Earth
we
is flat.
presuppose something when we just open our eyes, look, and see. There's a lighthouse. I see it because it's there. No presupposition required. I just trust the evidence of my own eyes. There it is.
Nathan, hi to the new guesses. We got
Yeah.
Laurie and Earth Flatner here.
Hi, Laurie. Hi, Earth Flattener. I did try and say, but it was being rumpused.
Hello.
Hello.
Shout out to Sleeping
Hello.
Warrior in the chat.
Do you have any empirical evidence that the Earth is flat? So
Yes.
I don't have to.
Let's say it again for the deaf idiot. On screen now. 31 miles away. Lighthouse. We see it because it's there. No need for any presupposition. I just look and see.
There's a presupposition.
Okay.
Where?
Okay.
Where
P.
is it?
Hold on. P. You
He's
can see
trolling.
Hold on. You can see your monitor in front of you. Do you need to scientifically justify looking at your monitor?
Well, if there's a demon in my head.
No.
that's
Let's
making
not
me
invent
believe there's a
nonsense.
monitor-
Let's not invent nonsense to go with my example. You open your eyes, you look, and there's your monitor. Correct? You open your eyes, you look, you see.
I need empirical evidence.
So you need empirical evidence for being able to see the monitor in front of you right now.
Yeah, I could. I can't trust my senses.
Really?
Well, then-
Reach out
then-
your hand and touch it.
But then you're
He's
no,
The
not
second
allowed to
confirmation is there.
no. If you can't trust your own senses for a monitor in front of you, P, then you are useless here.
He's not allowed to admit anything. That's what his masters say. We're never going to get anything with him because he's not allowed.
Master, employer, whatever.
So you can't see your monitor and accept that it's just there, P.
I can't trust my senses.
Okay, right. Well, I don't care what you trust. I look at my monitor and it's there. Exactly the same as the lighthouse on screen now. I open my eyes, I look, I see. No difference. No scientific validity needed for looking and seeing my monitor or looking and seeing this lighthouse. I just open my eyes, look, and see. No science needed.
But
When it comes to
you're presupposing.
No,
no,
when it comes to
no, no,
choosing,
no,
I
no,
prefer
P.
to choose to trust my senses than something I could imagine overall.
Sorry, there's no presupposition there, P. The presupposition
there
comes...
is.
Hold on, P. The presupposition comes when a model based on a presupposition of an R value says we shouldn't see it. Even though we open our eyes, we look, we see, it shouldn't be there. Therefore, it's a phenomena. It needs to be scienced. We need an explanation for this phenomena because there's a Earth curve in the way, but we still see it. Now, that's not sensible. That's not logical. That's religion. Religion says Earth curve should be blocking it. Reality says, there it is. You open your eyes, you look, you see, just like your monitor. But religion says, shouldn't be there. Must be a mirage. It's not really there. Don't trust your eyes. Trust in globe.
So I was here yesterday, and then when you're showing pictures of the curve, you just presuppose it's the angle of attack that's making it curve, which is ridiculous.
Sorry, we didn't
actually
see.
confirm
No. He's
No, you're
misrepresenting the
presupposing
No,
argument.
we
that
can
it's flat.
confirm that works that way.
Hold on,
No,
Arwin.
you
He's
can't.
misrepresenting
Yeah, you
the
can.
situation. No, we didn't see curve, P. Nothing curved. Did it?
You're presupposing it didn't curve.
Sorry, we didn't see any curve.
Show me pictures of curve all the time.
Sorry,
No,
no, we
obstruction.
don't. Hold on. Do we?
Obstruction isn't
Hold on. Is the Earth curve that isn't obstructing this lighthouse the Earth curve that you're going to suggest is obstructing, not curvature, not ball Earth, not anything bloody curving, Laurie, but obstructing? These are different words, Laurie. Do you understand the difference between those two words?
Obviously not.
Clearly.
Can you explain it to me?
Well, curvature means it's curving. Obstruction means there's something in front of it.
Do you have a English to
That's a
Finnish
question for me.
translator?
So, do you understand the difference that you have just asserted? We see curve. You've just told us that we see curve. Now you're talking all over me without making a concession. So, is this going to be one of those points that I get really angry because you won't concede that we don't see any curvature? That actually, I haven't finished. Yeah. What you're claiming as curvature is actually obstruction that, when put into a curve calculator, says the obstruction is caused by Earth curve. Not curvature, but a begging the question calculator claiming the obstruction is caused by curve. So that's the correction to your assertion, Laurie, that we see curve. We don't.
So basically your point is,
we don't see curve.
There is a person behind a corner. There's obstruction, but there is no corner, so you cannot say there's a corner there.
Sorry, hands up who heard the word corner. Hold on, let's just stop you. Hands up who heard me use the word corner.
I think I might have heard. No, not really.
Nobody heard me use that word. What are you babbling about? We're talking about the Earth curve that is inserted into our reality, whether or not it conforms with what we actually see, based on a calculation with an Earth radius presupposed. That is what you claim is the cause of the obstruction in the images, not curvature.
Okay, so I have a question. If it isn't
why?
curve,
Why aren't you conceding? Why are you asking? What? The
me.
pause. Shut up. The pause was
Oh.
for you to concede that your assertion of us seeing. Why are you talking over me? I have stopped you because I asked a question. There was a pause, and then you didn't answer. You asked me something. So, do you understand that what you have asserted is incorrect? We do not see any curvature. Things curving.
That's because you want to deny it's a curvature.
Sorry, what am I denying? Am I denying that we see curvature? Was my 2 or 3 minute explanation about a presupposition of an Earth curve blocking things, not curving? So when you say we see curvature, no, we don't. What we see is what you claim is Earth obstructing something in the distance. That's not curvature. That's not something curving. That's a claim based on a begging the question calculator. So, I'll repeat it at the end to summarise so you don't just ask me a question at the end. Do you now concede that we're not seeing any curve as you asserted incorrectly?
No.
So show me this curve, please.
You've seen Soundly's picture of this curve without
Shut up or I'll
obstruction.
kick you out. Show me this curve, please.
It has been seen in Soundly's pictures.
So we have presented Soundly's pictures of Earth curve, have we?
Well, there's also high altitude balloon
Sorry,
footage.
why are you talking, P? This guy's asserted we're demonstrating Earth curve in the pictures we present. I've just ripped him a new one and pointed out, no, we don't. We don't show anything curving. None of the pictures on screen have been curving. We've
All of
got
them
a
are.
claim of obstruction that when plugged into a calculator, now he uses Soundly. What the hell? Who's presenting Soundly here as proof of curve?
All your pictures show curve, Nathan.
Oh,
Everything
back
is
to
on.
this. Right, I'm going to kick you out, P, because I'm not talking to you. So, where's this curve?
Wow.
So, are you going to be a man? Show us that there's a curve, or concede that there isn't a curve. It's always obstruction.
You're playing a silly word game, so there is no reason for me to play your silly games here.
Sorry, not silly
Not a
games.
game, it's a question.
No, not at all. Let's get this nipped in the bud. Not a word game. There is a difference between the two things.
There is also a difference between a corner and obstruction.
We're not talking about corners. We're talking about an earth.
We could be talking about corners.
We
but
could be
you
if we were
don't-
talking about brick walls. We're talking about earth. This is a flat earth debate. If you want to talk about corners, go to a masonry forum, not an earth discussion. This is what we're talking about. Now, you claimed we show pictures of curvature. We don't.
Yes, because it's visible.
Sorry. Are you going to
visible.
show us this? Are you going to straw man us
Nathan,
with
do you
Soundly?
Do you understand that a thing can be curvature and obstruction at the same time?
Oh,
You are thinking that those are two
this
mutually
sounds
exclusive.
like a word game you're playing with me now. So you're telling
Sorry,
me that two different
it can
things
be
are the
both
same
at the
thing.
same time. It
Oh,
can be both at
right,
the
that
same
sounds
time.
like a word game. Why are you playing word games with us, Laurie?
Sorry, you're being silly. It can be both at the same time. Do you
According
not
to you,
realize that?
they're two different
Why
things.
are you being an idiot?
It could be if there's actual curvature there, but there only seems to be obstruction because horizons, flat, long distance observation, minimal observer height, these are all geometrical evidences of flatness. So there is obstruction, and yeah,
chocolate.
if there was curvature, then that would also cause some obstruction. But it's not, because all the other elements that should be there when curvature is present are not there. There's just obstruction due to the limit of viewing angle. Looking past a flat surface causes the flat surface to obstruct the view in the distance. Optics.
Those are all nice claims.
It's
and
optics. No, it's not a claim. It's optics. It's proven scientific
claim of
optics.
optics.
No, not
Claim of-
claim. Proven. This is proven.
It
Optics.
hasn't been
You can
actually
demonstrate it to yourself in a small scale. It's a distinct optics effect. Anyone can prove this to themselves if they make the effort. It's not that hard.
Yet I have not seen proof of it.
Well,
3
then-
years being
Then
Maybe
demonstrate
try
it
and-
to
I
yourself.
can
Look
2 minutes.
past a
2 minutes,
large
Arwen. 2
flat
minutes, and I can
surface,
explain it. 2
minimal
minutes.
observer height, and you will
Yeah,
see
you said that,
the
Arwen.
surface
Arwen,
will
you've said that
obstruct
already.
the view in the distance.
Arwen, you're repeating yourself. So, Laurie, do you appreciate that something like a housefly, a tiny little thing, will eventually, as you back away from it, become too small to see?
Yes, but that's not the same thing.
Oh,
Do
really?
you not realize?
Oh, really? I haven't described anything yet. So I'm just getting a concession.
I know where you're going. So you're saying things that disappear bottom down because they get too small to see.
That's correct.
That's silly. That's just simply silly.
Oh, right. Well, then you're a reality denier. So whether you like it or not, I'll give my example to the audience. So in the same way as if you back away from a housefly, eventually the fly is too small to see. As you back away from a pair of shoes, eventually those shoes become the size of 2 pixels in your camera. And then you back away a little bit further and they become no pixels. They are like the housefly, too small to see. And that is because of their angular size. Now, close to the horizon, you have the most limited angle. Obviously, it's close to the horizon, so you have a very limited angle to see things in, and therefore this effect becomes pronounced with distance, because you have a limited angle. Now, the angular size will cause things to disappear because of angular resolution, how big they are and how much you can resolve of it, and that will happen based on the viewing angle. An increased angle to the same shoes that have just disappeared would bring them back into view, because then you have an increased angle to it. The angular size is negated by the angle of attack. Now, the same shoes have disappeared. You've reversed back, they've gone down to 1 pixel, then you've gone back a bit further and they've gone down to no pixels. Then a mate, who's standing just off camera, runs over to them shoes and puts them on. And guess what? You've got an increase in angle to the guy wearing the shoes. The shoes are still invisible. The angular size of the shoes doesn't change, but the angle of the guy is bigger than the shoes because he's taller than them. So you can still see the guy, but his shoes have disappeared. Effectively, the man, his feet, have disappeared from bottom up. That is an explanation for your claim that only the presupposition of an R when plugged into a begging the question proof of nothing perspective omitting curve calculator is the cause of the obstruction with no scientific validity to back your assertion. However, a simple demonstration based on angles and angular size will demonstrate that things will disappear from the bottom up. Seeming like obstruction that you claim is Earth curvature, even though it's not curvature, and can be explained in other ways, other than we must assume a ball on.
Okay, is that the rant finished now?
Hey, Zinder.
Good morning, fellas.
Hello.
Yeah, Nathan, you're kind of repeating yourself.
Thanks, Owen.
Like that was wasted minutes of my time. Can you actually make some sense here?
Oh, right. So to this retard, that didn't make any sense. Clearly, I didn't dumb it down enough. Maybe if I draw it out in crayon for you, you complete retard, you might understand that things disappear due to angular size.
Like I was actually making an argument, but you just started ranting for minutes and minutes. Like we can take
not ranting, explaining.
Look, I'm trying to get
because
to a
you said you didn't
Listen
get
to
it.
what I'm trying to say here. We can take a pyramid, for example. It is bigger at the bottom, and yet when we go away, it disappears from the bottom up.
That's all you need to say. So going away from things causes them to disappear from the bottom up, like buildings in the distance, like ships on the horizon that you claim is going over Earth's curvature. And as you've just very concisely detailed and absolutely 100% backed up what I have said, you can back away from the pyramid and it'll disappear from the bottom up. And that's because of, as I asserted, the angular size limitation and the angle of attack. That's what causes things to disappear from bottom up. It's very simple.
But why does it do then with pyramids when they are bigger at the bottom?
They're bigger on... Oh my god. The angular size we're referring to is their vertical size. The horizontal size makes sod all difference. Your limited angle is on the vertical.
So why are you concentrating? Like that's not how optics works.
Yes, that is how
yeah, it is. So for this dickhead, this idiot that is clearly not watching the show, Ranty does endless demonstrations of boats that as he raises in altitude, they become more or less compressed to the angular limit, and then they start to disappear. That's because of the vertical angle of attack. That's what we're talking about. Now, surprisingly, even when he raises or lowers, or even if he twists left or right, it makes absolutely no difference whatsoever to the horizontal angle of attack. That just remains the same because he's got basically an infinite expanse left and right. But at the horizon, there's an ocean in the way, limiting the angle quite severely. So it's the vertical angle we're concerned about. Zinda tried this shite the other day.
The ocean in the way.
Can you prove it, Nathan? Can you prove it on a smaller scale?
Yes. Yes.
Can you show me this? Because
yeah,
my
no problem.
senses tell me differently.
No problem. Yes. No problem. I'll get it together for you. So I've done a small scale experiment with my phone, with the lens right up against the edge of the table, and CDs, well, I don't know, 3 feet away. And based on the angle, you can get them to disappear from bottom up. It's really easy. You can do it on a 4-foot table.
Can you show me those videos?
Yeah, I'll dig them out.
Thank you. Would be nice.
No problem. Anytime. I'm here to do these things. Have you done it?
I've trusted my eyes, and I always see things shrinking until they become a part of the surrounding. They disappear. They vanish.
So let me get this straight. I set up a small-scale experiment where I could limit the angle, and you squinted. Wow. Almost comparable.
Yeah, I mean, those street signs, the poles are the same as things at the horizon. I mean, those are objects that are on the ground or the ships on the water on a surface, and when I go away from those, I can see them shrinking, and first disappears the pole, that's everything at the same time, and then the sign itself, because the sign is bigger.
Yeah, proportionately, as you back away from it, the horizontal will also shrink. However, the limitation that's causing things to disappear bottom up is the vertical. We're not too concerned with the horizontal because you can just twist left and right and it really makes no difference. However, raising and lowering makes a massive difference because there's an obstruction limiting the angle. That would be the surface that you're looking over. In most cases, water. So that water limits the angle. Whereas you can tilt through 180 degrees just by turning your head and there's nothing limiting it. It's amazing. But the water at huge distances massively limits the angle. Obviously, anybody with half a brain would realise that. You're looking a huge distance, obviously with an obstruction below you, the thing that you're looking over. The table, the water, whatever. Who cares? But it limits your angle. Doesn't make any difference if I could just get to the end of my point. If I could just get to the end of my point, Cinder. Doesn't make any difference to the horizontal.
Yeah, you are assuming that this is this way, but
did you not hear me? Sorry, did you not hear me when I said I've done it?
Yeah.
So you've squinted. So Cinder, you've squinted. I've done a small scale version of it and observed it happening.
Yeah, so show me this first. And
yeah, I said I will. I'll dig it out. I'm in no hurry, considering that all you've done is squinted. So yes, I'm not at your beck and call. I'll do it in my own damn time. Yes, I've done it. I don't give a crap if you believe me.
Yeah.
I'll do it in my own time. Thank you, Cinder. Yeah, can you squint for me,
I've seen it demonstrate here.
Hold on, Alwyn. Hold on. Can you squint for me? Can you replicate your test by squinting?
I will show it to you next week or so if I have
Amazing.
time.
You'll show it, will you? You'll show us how you see things through your squinted eyelids. Wow, what kind of technology do you have? Magic lenses attached to your balls of your eyes.
Well, dude.
No, I can't do that. No, I might have to do small-scale experiment with lens and camera. No, squinting not really demonstratable. Yes, I understand, Cinder. You are a wanker.
No, you're just full of shit and you're just making...
Yes, full of shit. Yes, I've done it. In small scale, Arwyn also has done it. Many people have done it. The limitation of the vertical angle is what causes things to obstruct from bottom up.
Right. Alright, that's your claim. Now you only have to prove it.
Yeah, it's proven on many observations.
Please, I want a moment here because there's something very important I need to add.
Go ahead. My bad, I've cut you off about 3 times.
What we see in the distance, normally, we're looking past the flat surface, and then the horizontal becomes obstructed. But this can also happen if you look past a vertical flat surface. The same thing happens if you're, like, say, looking right past a super straight bridge, and you keep your head against the side of the bridge and you look past it, the same thing will happen. Things will start to obstruct. Let's say if you are on the right side of a bridge looking past it, then the right side will start to obstruct of things right next to the bridge.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter if something is at top or bottom, left or
matters,
right. It matters only if
the orientation of the observer past the flat surface. This could even technically work with a diagonal flat surface if you're looking past it. It's all about that flat surface.
Right.
When you look past the flat surface, that flat surface, no matter its orientation, will eventually cause obstruction.
I see.
Yeah,
I
I
see.
understood that.
Oh, so you understood that if you were in, say, a long tunnel, that then it might affect the horizontal, because like the ocean or whatever it is you're looking across on the vertical, that thing that causes the limited angle, then in a tunnel, that would happen on the horizontal as well, because there'd be a surface blocking your way on the sides.
Yeah, I understood the thing with the surface, but I
All right, well,
don't
we're not
agree
looking
that
over.
this
We're not
happens.
looking through tunnels. Amazingly, we've got quite a wide expanse on the horizontal, so it makes sod all difference, Cinder. We're not looking through tunnels, but we are obscured very much on the vertical because of the thing we're looking across at a great distance, like water. That limits the angle, Cinder. Limits the angle.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
So
Yeah.
the thing I understood was
Anybody hear
that
me?
it doesn't matter if it
We
is
hear
at
you,
the
we
bottom
hear you.
or the top or the left or the right. But I think my point is it doesn't happen. What you say doesn't happen.
It does.
Because
How do you know?
because
Have
it
you,
is
you've already
closer to the
claimed
surface.
you've not done anything to test it. You haven't got the vaguest idea whether it happens or not. You just assert that when it does happen on these long distance pictures, it's bloody Earth curve.
Well, you just assume it's
No,
perspective.
you assume dickhead. I don't assume anything. I just look at this stuff. You assume there's a bloody Earth curve in the way because you've got a radius value. I don't assume anything.
I don't assume either. I never mentioned R.
All right, well, we've got stuff disappearing from the bottom up like wind turbines, and when it's shown, you all go Earth curve. Like this idiot. What's his name? Laurie. As soon as something's being obscured, you can be damn sure it's curvature. Right, Laurie?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go, you see? Backs me up when I need him to. Well done, Tosspot. Yes. So you can be damn sure we can assume it's curvature, right? No, we don't assume anything. You assume it's Earth curve based on a presupposition of an R value and a begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking calculator that doesn't take into account the angles. Zinder.
I didn't even mention Earth curvature. Why are you talking about this?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
so
he's
what's
talking
obstructing
about
things that get... Why do things disappear
It's
bottom
not
up?
on the flat Earth debate. On the flat Earth debate, then.
Yeah, just asshole. Just denies that he's ever making any claims. So
Zinder,
No,
you
I
just
didn't
admitted
I
my
made the
example is correct. Why would you now then ignore that fact, that knowledge, that looking past a flat surface, which would include looking past the Earth surface?
Yeah, please go on.
Yeah, if you know that effect is there, if you give recognition to that, why would you then subtly ignore this and claim Earth curvature anyway? If you know this effect is there.
I said it would be the same on the left, right, top, and bottom if this really was observable.
Okay,
I said
so-
it doesn't.
so
It
you're
is
going to ignore
only
us.
if you're
Hold on,
looking
Arwin,
past
let
a
me
flat
just get him
surface. A
again.
flat surface
Let me
is
just get him
not gonna
again.
be
Arwin,
in
explain
multiple
this to you.
directions at the
Arwin,
same-
let me back you up. Yes, Arwin, explain this to you. If you had a flat surface to the left and right, in the same way you do on the bottom, then you would have the same obstruction like in a tunnel. So you're now going to ignore that, or are you just going to ignore and concede, or what are you going to do about that? If you're looking through a tunnel, there'd be the same limitation of the angle in the horizontal. But we're not looking through a tunnel. We've got an infinite angle. We can go 360 degrees left to right. But the angle across the way is limited by the thing you're looking across.
And I say this doesn't make things disappear bottom up because
Yes, it does. The angle. How many bloody times? My explanation about a guy with his shoes. You back away from things, they get too small. That's the angle. Yeah? Angular size causes things to disappear. Now, if you've got a limitation of your overall angle, the smallest angle will disappear first. And when you're looking across a surface, that limits your angle. unlike the horizontal, Zinder. What I'm going to say next, Zinder, is why aren't you getting this? Because it seems like you're stupid.
No, I get your explanation, but I don't agree with you.
So say it back to me then.
This is reality.
Say it back to me, Zinder. Say it back to me then. Don't rumpus. Don't rumpus. Just repeat it back. Oh, don't rumpus me. Repeat it back, Zinder. I understand that when you are looking across a surface, there is a limitation of the angle at the closest point to the surface.
I'm not going to repeat anything, dude.
Oh, well, then you're an asshole. Then you're not conceding anything because you're an asshole.
If you see it like this.
Yeah, when we look through a tunnel, your point that you've come here, asshole, is that we must have the same limitation on the horizontal. No, we're not looking through a tunnel, idiot. But we are looking across a surface. So it's not looking through a tunnel with a limitation to the top and the sides. It's only limited on the surface, the bottom. That's where you get your limited angle. That's where things disappear from bottom up because of their angular limitation. Now, you can ignore this or just say, no, I won't repeat anything because I'm an asshole.
I can tell you what I agree with you on. I agree with you on that the clown shoes will disappear due to angular size.
Right. Well, if somebody then puts those shoes on, they have a bigger angle than the shoes. So the shoes disappear. You'll concede one little section of it, which is the shoes will disappear through an angular limitation. Well, the shoes are smaller than the rest of the boat. The shoes are smaller than the rest of the turbines. The shoes are smaller than the person who puts them on. They have a bigger angle.
The show, man.
You're just gonna have to wait because he's the guy that actually runs the show. Okay?
Well, yeah, so he gets to be rumpus when
you can leave if you don't like it, you know?
Well, so can you go ahead?
Well, I don't mind. I'm used to it by now.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Yeah, go ahead, Chocolate. You tried to get in a word for a while.
Can I finish this point I made before Nathan started to rumpus me? I agree that the shoes at the feet will disappear, but I don't agree that the shoes on the top, that the shoes that he put on his head will...
The shoes on the top of his head are a different angle, asshole. So you did this last time, asshole. So you're just an asshole. Yeah, the reason you can see the bit above his shoes is because you've got an increased angle. It's not because they're shoes, you unbelievable retard. It's because of the angle. So if he's wearing a hat, even if it's a shoe hat, you can see it because you've got an increased angle. Asshole.
The angle doesn't change.
You're an asshole, Zinder. In fact, just for that, get out. You complete asshole. You are obfuscating and being a dimwit. You're either a retard or you're here to obfuscate the point. The point being you've got an increased angle to everything above the shoes that you've conceded would disappear because of their angular size and the limitation at distance, thus proving things disappear from bottom up. And then this asshole Zinder, who is just an asshole, comes along and said, what if he had the shoes on his head? Asshole.
Hold on, guys, really quick. Hey, Chocolate, how you doing, brother? I know you want to get a word out for a little while. Go ahead.
I'm good, fellas. How you guys doing?
Good. How's the new job faring?
Awesome.
Cool. Good to hear.
Excellent.
Very awesome. Doing really well. I still listen every day. I just can't join while I'm at work, so I'm here in spirit.
Right, I'll say a quick hello to another guest, and then we'll round up for a quick break. So, how are you doing, Will?
Hello.
Hello, good to have you. And with that, I'll say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do. Probably done it already. But if you like the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!